I thoroughly hate that my glasses, no matter what I do, glare. And literally the only thing, like, I can't even fix what it's glaring because it's glaring my viewfinder. My name is Mars and my bookshelf is kind of small. So I gotta address a couple things. First thing, I chopped all my hair off and dyed it blonde. Despite what many people may believe, I did not have a mental breakdown. If you know me at all, you know that I do make impulsive decisions. Surprisingly enough, the blonde was not the impulse part. The chopping it off was the impulse part. Normally I'll chop it off like this far, or like just not this short. This is pretty short for me, but I got tired of my hair. In addition to that, I think I'm just gonna keep going shorter and shorter every time I cut it because this makes me feel a little bit more androgynous. So, you know, baby steps. The dyeing it blonde, technically it wasn't supposed to be blonde, it was supposed to be lavender. I've wanted to dye my hair for a really long time. I never did it because a lot of reasons. I didn't do it for a lot of reasons. I bleached it twice. And then I put lavender dye in it, and then the lavender dye decided to not show up despite the fact that we used the entire jar of dye. And my hair is pretty short, so it's not like we didn't have enough. Like, I don't know how much shorter you could really get when it comes to like I mean, some of it stayed. You can't even see it on camera. Some of it stayed, and most of it's washed out by now. It was like it was pretty defined by the roots at one point, but now it's just kind of gone. Another thing, I moved into a new apartment. So obviously you can see there's a new surrounding. My bookshelf is actually right behind me, which is the meat of the video, so I'm not gonna get there yet. But I moved into a new apartment. I have a roommate. I don't know if she's home. I never do know. Sometimes I'm here and I'm awake and she's asleep, and then sometimes I'm asleep and she's awake, because we just have two completely different sleeping schedules. So she could be sleeping right now. So I'm trying to be a little bit quiet. And she could just be like, hey Mars, why the fuck are you talking to yourself? That would be so much fun. Another thing, I was gone for a very long time, and I've actually made a couple of videos on my camera, like, that I intended to upload, and then I never uploaded them because I really just didn't want to fucking edit them. I don't think there's anything that I hate more than editing. I like making the video, thoroughly hate the editing part. Don't really have enough money to hire an editor. I don't really have enough of anything to have an editor, and so, you know, there's no really fixing this problem. The longer the video is, the less I want to edit it. I hate editing. I think it's stupid. Not in the sense that, like, I need to edit the video or else it would just be a rambling piece of shit. Like, this is already 6 minutes fucking long on a camera, and I know there's a lot of empty space I need to cut out right now. So I just stopped because it became a chore, and I don't make money off of this shit. I get almost nothing from doing this except for my own pleasure. So if it's not giving me pleasure, why the fuck would I do it? So I stopped. I don't know when it's gonna start up. Don't even know if this video is gonna make it onto even my computer. But I don't know, now that I'm on summer break and have been on summer break for a significant amount of time, and none of my friends are in San Francisco over the summer because they all went back home because we only go to college together, here doing nothing, talking to a camera. It's also nighttime right now. You can maybe see my twinkling lights in the background. God, I don't know if that's gonna cause an issue. If I like the video, then the lights aren't gonna make me change my mind. I'm filming this at nighttime because for some fucking reason I only get the inspiration to do this at nighttime, and I've been waiting to do it in the daytime when I have the inspiration, and I never do. So it's happening at nighttime. Sorry. The lighting may not be spectacular because it's not daylight. What are you gonna do about it? So, for the reason that you clicked on the video, either that or you're just already subscribed to me, which is great. Thank you, by the way. I'm going to show you my little ass bookshelf in a little ass bookshelf tour. So, we're gonna just scoot aside and show you my fucking small ass bookshelf. Now the reason I don't want to get a big bookshelf is because I'm technically subletting this place. And I'm afraid that if I get a big bookshelf, then I won't be able to sign the lease. Like, I'll have jinxed it. Does that make sense? Like, I'll have jinxed the capability to sign a lease by getting too comfortable here. And, like, the landlady is gonna be like, actually, I'm not leasing this place out anymore. So I'm just waiting on the bookshelf until I actually have signed a 1-year lease. That way I know I can be here for a whole year. This is the whole thing. You can almost always expect my book that I'm reading at current to be either over here or over there where that book is. I'm not really sure if I'm going to actually finish that book, but I sleep in bed. Everyone sleeps in bed, I hope. I typically read in bed, which is why my books are going to be either here or there. And then this is my little itty bitty bookshelf, which I've said like 8 times now. This is my TBR, all the way up to here, which is roughly like half of my bookshelf, maybe like a little bit less than half. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books on my TBR. There's more, I just haven't bought them because I don't typically like to buy books unless I'm going to read them. But lately I've been getting in a reading slump, which is why I have accumulated so many books. So I stopped buying books. Compared to the rate that I was reading and the books that I was buying, I would have a lot more books had I continued to buy books without reading them. Does that make any sense? And I typically unhaul the books that I don't like, which is why I'm able to get such a small bookshelf. I almost immediately unhaul the books I don't like. I wait for like a few to collect because I don't want to like have to deal with a mass at a time. So that's my TBR. The rest of these are books that I've already finished and particularly liked, like Circe, 2 of the first 2 volumes of Heartstopper, which are the only 2 out right now, which I love dearly. They're so fantastic. I highly recommend them. Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, Call Me By Your Name, which I actually severely hated, but I enjoy the aesthetics of the cover, and I am a slave to aesthetics. Vicious V.E. Schwab, which I loved. This is just like a little like picture book that technically my little brother gave it to me, but he's 1.5, almost 2. So he really didn't have the capability to give it to me, but you know, I like to pretend like he was the one who gave it to me. And then I have this book called Emergency Contact, which I read and thought was mediocre, but I enjoy the cover art thoroughly, and we support artists in this house. And then finally at the end here, which you may not be able to see, these are the Over the Garden Wall comics or graphic novels. I'm not really sure what they'd be called, but that's what's at the end here, and that's really all that's in my bookshelf. Again, the reason why it's so small is because I either unhaul the books I don't like immediately, but also I have moved a few times. So I moved from my mom's house to my dad's house, from my dad's house to the dorms, and then from the dorms to here. So I've been having to leave behind books essentially. So I do have books in other places. When I moved from my mom's house to my dad's house, most of those books were like middle grade books that I was leaving behind, so they all kind of just went to my little cousin. So I technically still have them in a way, but they're with my little cousin, who is really just like a little brother to me, essentially. I see them all the time. I go to them. They're my family. These are probably the beginnings of my book collection. This is what's going to be in my forever bookshelf. These books are coming with me wherever. When I get a bookshelf, obviously the book collection will grow, but everything that I have left behind essentially will probably stay left behind, except for maybe the rest of this series, because I love this series so much. In essence, this is my little bookshelf, and I hope you really liked it because it's cute and tiny, and you know, we're not going to get a bookshelf until we really need a bookshelf, which is kind of going to be soon because there's really not a lot of room in here. There's maybe room for one more book. But hopefully I'll read these, and probably some of them will be ones that I let go. Looking at it right now, I can't tell if I really dislike any of them. I love this series, so I'll probably like this book. So far this book is okay. I might get rid of it maybe. Oh, by the way, these are all started. Like, I've started every single one of these. I've just given up on them pretty quickly, but that was because I was in a reading slump. It wasn't because I didn't like them. But this one, I wouldn't be surprised if I unhauled. This one's pretty good. I've gotten pretty far in it. Like, I've made a pretty good dent in it. This one I kind of started. It's possible, I guess, I could unhaul this one, but I've also only read a couple pages of it, so I don't really know for sure. This one I'm thinking I really like, and this one I'm thinking is a lot of an existential crisis for me, so I'm slowly treading through it because it's just kind of bringing up a lot of subjects that make me question a lot of things and panic, which is obviously not something I want to do. So that's that. It's cute. It's sweet. Hope you enjoyed. I hate outros.